For 30 teams in the NFL, it's already all about the 2026 season. That goes for your New Orleans Saints as well. And unlike last year when we were all asking who will be the next head coach, who will play quarterback, you're on the right track when your biggest questions are who will be the top draft pick, who will be the top team targeted free agency. And since those two kind of go hand in hand, we figured it's never too early to start thinking about it. NOLA.com assistant sports editor Zach Ewing is here for his weekly Friday visit, and we have all sorts of things to talk about. That includes, of course, the Saints, and we'll also dive into LSU football, and for the first time this season, women's basketball. Oh, and the Buffalo Bills hired the little clipboard holder as their OC. What in the hell are they thinking? Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, we'll try to also fit in a little Super Bowl and Pelicans talk. Gabe is back, and so is the Dattitude podcast, which is up, well, that would be right now.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? Warning, I got a warning for everybody. I am on cup of coffee number 2. We don't usually have a 2-cup morning. Needed to get fired up. It's Friday. It's going to be all be stuck inside over the next 2 days. Who knows? Means nothing but fun here on Dattitude, episode number 470, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Friday, January the 30th, 2026. It is the final show of January. I am your host, Jim Derry, 35 plus years in the New Orleans sports media scene. You know what I think about y'all being a part of the Dat family. We love you so much. What is coming up on today's show? Well, it's Friday. That means Zach is here. No Pick'em crew. It's going to be the first Friday show without Pick'em since, I don't know. No, wait. We had one other one. Didn't we? I think we had one. Yeah. When Brian, something happened and we had one show that we had to cancel the Pick'em. So it's the second show without Pick'em since early September. Or maybe late August, whatever. You know what I mean. It's going to be a little different than usual, but we have so much to talk about. It might not be the worst thing in the world. Pick'em returns next week. Our final Pick'em show is next Friday. Also, next week is our final full week for a couple weeks, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's when we're here live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11 a.m. Central Time. And what's special about our show, you know it. You type in your comment. We'll show it. You talk to us, we talk back to you. We'll get to comments in just a minute this morning. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and consider becoming a Dattitude member. As an independent, I would love it if you would consider that to give this channel a little support. And with either of the two packages, you get access to our Slack messaging channel, or we have all kinds of interesting chat. You get my early notes on who will be on the show. You get the daily poll question before everybody else. You get the show topics before everybody else. And coming soon, very soon, I have a small surprise for members. You'll have to wait a little bit. Speaking of members, thank you so much, Jody Alexander, the newest member of the Dat channel. Thank you so much, Jody. And Jody's a regular, been around for a while. We appreciate you so much, and all the other members. Coming up in a little bit, we'll have our comments. All right. What else is on the show this morning? Before I get to the comments, Zach and I are going to talk about Saints free agency. We're going to talk about all sorts of things, Saints, really. I got a couple Saints nuggets for you. One Saints assistant is definitely gone. He's also, I believe he's in the Ring of Fame, the Saints Ring of Fame. Another Saints top assistant is thinking about leaving. He's being interviewed both by the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, yep, Mike McCarthy's coming in and poaching some of Kellen Moore's staff. We'll talk about that a little bit. We're going to get into, as you saw on the title side this morning, we talked about who would be a better fit. Is it Alec Pierce? Is it Breece Hall? I'm going to give you my thoughts on why what my pick is and why I think that. and it might not be what you think. We're going to talk a little bit about probably we'll get into the Super Bowl and early thoughts on the Super Bowl. LSU, we're going to get into our thoughts on LSU, both women's basketball and the football talk this morning. It's kind of looking back a little bit. Garrett Nussmeier is at the Senior Bowl. He's talked a little bit about last year and his thoughts and, excuse me, why the way things went the way they went. And Zach is also hosts the LSU Insider Show along with the Saints Insider Show. So we're going to get his comments on what he thought about all that. So yeah, it's lots to talk about. All right. So before we get to all of that and before we get to the comments from everyone this morning, again, thanks to Jody for being the newest Dattitude member. But I've got some love to give, and I've got some. Oh man, we talked about the snow. My sister's house. I'm going to show you a video that I meant to show you on Monday and then forgot on Wednesday. But I want to show it today because they're expected to get a little bit more snow to show you what it could be like if you live here in New Orleans or anywhere here in the South and you don't have to deal with this kind of crap and you never have. Just a little tip on what it's like as I take another sip of my second cup this morning. So yeah, but my love shout out is to my lovely wife of almost 18 years, and happy anniversary. Our anniversary is February the 1st, which is Sunday. So obviously no more shows until then. And I want to give her a shout out. Sometimes she's watching the show. I never know when she's watching the show and when she isn't. She doesn't usually pipe in. So maybe she's watching. If you're watching, happy anniversary, honey. That is coming up on Sunday. Can you believe somebody put up with me for 18 years? Been together. Our first date was on New Year's Eve of 2005. So we've been together for 20. Been married for 18 years this weekend. And it's been like most other marriages. It's been quite the ride. Our ups and downs, just like everybody else. But the fact that someone could put up with me for 18 years, married, amen. We got married on a Mardi Gras float. I don't know if I've told you that before. We wrote a story about it in the Times-Picayune. I've said that on this show before, but in case some of you haven't heard me say it, yep, we got married on a Mardi Gras float, literally standing on the Mardi Gras float. The preacher was my dear friend. He has left this earth, Billy Turner, the Reverend Billy Turner, who left us a few years ago. But he married us on the float with my parents there. With my son was with us at the time. All the members of the bride and groom's party, they rode on the float with us, and we rolled down St. Charles Avenue in the crew of Morpheus. So that's how we got married. And that was hard to believe. That was 18 years ago. I know some of you in the audience were there, probably. Some of you watching the show were there, at least on the street watching us. So anyway, just wanted to give a shout out to my wife. Now, the other thing, again, I wanted to tell you about, show you this video. And I think I could talk over it, so I'm just going to show it. But this is some video of my sisters in Massachusetts. I believe this was taken Monday morning. It was still snowing. It snowed for about 4 days straight. There's still snow all over the ground because they haven't been above freezing. And they're expected to get some more this weekend. Oh, my word. To this video, I say, no thanks. I mean, look, UBN makes fun of me because I like cold weather, and I do. I like cold weather, but I like cold weather within reason. I ain't no 28-degree guy, and the wind chill is 2, like we're going to have this weekend, which is actually supposed to be. I think the low here in Mandeville on Sunday morning is going to be, no, maybe it's Monday morning, 17. It is supposed to be 17 degrees in New Orleans, and at least on the North Shore. I like cold, but nobody likes, I mean, that you're a sicko if you like. It's just like if you like hot weather and you like 95 degree, even if you like hot weather, if you like 95, you're a sicko. If you like cold weather and you like 20, you're a sicko. I'm a sicko for other reasons, but it ain't for that. So anyway, my poor dear sister, God love her. I'm just glad I don't have to deal with that. Frozen weekend coming up again. Y'all take care. And all kidding aside, you saw that snow video? Wherever you live, I know probably half my audience is here around the New Orleans area, and the other half is scattered all over the place. Almost the entire country Even I saw the low in Miami this weekend. This is no joke. The low in Miami this weekend, either tomorrow night or Sunday night, I'm not sure which, is in the 30s. A low in Miami in the 30s. They say there's potential for snow in the Bahamas. This is crazy. So anyway, everyone take care of themselves. I want you all back here on Monday when we go live again. You know what I mean. All right, I got something else to talk about before Zach comes on, but I got to get to a few of the comments here this morning, including a super sticker from Mitch Bergeron of $20. Mitch, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Mitch has been around for a while, a Dattitude regular. We thank you so much for your support of the Dattitude podcast. We can't do this without y'all. I can get all the advertisers and sponsorship in the world, which I'm still working on, but we can't do it without you. All right, Zach coming up in about 9 minutes or so. So let's get to some of the comments. Also, something else I want to talk about. Gabe likes to bring up trends. I got a trend for you with the Super Bowl. It's pretty much as stupid as some of Gabe's trends. It's about the jersey color. I mean, first of all, if you pay any attention to they act like yesterday. Oh, Patriots are wearing white. Well, no shit, Sherlock. It's every other year. The AFC's the home team one year. The NFC's the home team the next year. It's not a surprise. Ooh, Patriots wearing. They made a big deal about what the jersey. They're wearing their same old uniforms. One gets to wear their home uniform. The other one. Thank you, Charles Mangus, for the $5. We appreciate it so much. Charles Mangus, a long time friend of the show. So anyway, we're going to get to that in just a minute, but I want to get to some of the comments here this morning because I got a lot of maybe it's the second cup. I don't know. What do you think? Drinking out of my Disney cup, for those of long time. I mean, if you've been watching for a long, long time, remember I used to drink out of my Little Mermaid mug. I always drank out of my Little Mermaid mug. Well, I kind of changed it up now. Because my water's here in the Dattitude cup. I got Charles Mangus gave me some love I got his sweatshirt on today. And we're giving some love to whatever princess. I'm a girl dad. It is what it is. Girl dads do stuff like this. They wear bracelets their kids make them on their own. I wear pink. I'm not proud. I don't care. Girl dad. Apathy. Good morning. Super Bowl 60 is only the fourth time in 26 years that it will feature two defensive head coaches. Okay, I'm going to take you on your word at that. Maybe I'll have to do some digging into that to make sure that it's the case. I'm sure you heard that somewhere, and we usually like to fact check, but so that is unconfirmed, but okay. Sounds good. Interesting though. It is interesting because you think about it. How many defensive coaches are actually head coaches? What do you think it is? Like 60-40 offensive to defense? Gabe says no. I think it's probably 64. Maybe we'll do a study on that. Chad Gage, good morning. How are you, sir? Gabe says 70-30. You mean 70 offense, 30 defense? Yeah. I could see that. It's definitely more offense than defense. That's kind of my point. Charles Mangus, who also gave us the super sticker, says, good, happy Friday morning. Did I hear Breeze is training Shuck? Yeah, I heard that a few days ago. And some of the receivers. No names mentioned in San Diego. Not sure 100% what that means. But okay. Not to be outdone, UBN. No UBN today with the $20 super sticker. Thank you so much for supporting the channel as always. He says, but please, everyone, don't leave like he mentioned Derek Carr. Sorry, Lance, if you're watching. He did it just to be kind of there it is. I didn't do it. I mean, I got to read it. He's supporting the channel. He gave us $20. I kind of have to. I'm forced. I'm kind of forced to. Give us $20. I got to mention whatever he says on there. Good morning, S. Callie. And yes, we will talk a little Lady Tigers this morning. Won their 6th game in a row. Beat the Arkansas Razorbacks. So after losing their first 2 SEC games, they have won 6 in a row, including They beat number 4 Texas and I think number 10 Oklahoma. They walloped number 10 Oklahoma earlier in the week. They are now 20-2. 20-2. Daryl Hayden, good morning. Would I give up a 3rd round pick to move up from 8 to 5 to draft Jeremiah Love? No, I would not. I think he'll still be there at 8. And if he's not, then so be it. No more trading up. I mean, I just, look, we talked about it before. I think this team needs to I would rather see them trade down than trade up. There's too many things they need. I love Jeremiah Love. That's absolutely who I want him to trade for. But I don't want to see them give up any picks to move up. That's just my opinion. It is not my 4th cup, Daryl. It's just my 2nd cup. But I could still be. I don't need more than 2, promise you. I'm different than most people. There are people I know, including my dad, who lived to be 81 before he passed away. The anniversary, he died 2 years ago next week. Thinking about my dad a lot lately, too. So maybe it's because of that. But my dad could drink, and my mother-in-law still does, could drink a pot of coffee, an entire pot of coffee in the morning. My mother-in-law, I think she's 76, 77, something along those lines. She drinks a pot, and she wakes up at like 3 in the morning. That woman will drink a pot of coffee before any of you or almost any of you are awake. She drinks a pot of coffee before like 5:30 in the morning. I've never seen anything like it. If I drink more than 2 cups, I'm going to be like, you know how you pull the string and those whirly bird things go? That's what I would be like. You don't want to, trust me, you don't want to see that. So 2 is my max. I can't say I've never had, but I would bet I can count the number of times I've had more than 2 cups of coffee in the same day on 2 hands in my entire life. You don't want to, I'm telling you, it would not be fun. Good morning, Jerry. Why are you not happy today? Maybe we'll get to it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know why you're not happy. We're going to get to it. It's in the comments, but that is one of our topics this morning. I hear you. Charles says he doesn't think we'll have to move up. I don't think we'll have to move up either. Lenny Hoffman, one of the free agents, is absolutely Isaiah Likely from the Ravens. That's an interesting name, Lenny. Look, he would definitely fit in here. I just don't know. Do you want to spend that much money on tight ends? Okay, you already got what? However much money. I gotta go look. What is it? What did Juwan Johnson get? $30 million over 3 years. Gabe's gonna look it up. I think it was $30 million over 3 years. So do you want to pay 2 tight ends that kind of money on your team? I don't think so. I'm not gonna say no, but I don't think so. Bill Mariani said he's hoping for Love at 8. 30 points. I was close. $30.75 million over 3 years. So you're already spending big money. Yeah, I don't think you can do it. So again, it wouldn't be the worst because I think Isaiah Likely is a fantastic tight end. If you're asking me, I would rather Isaiah Likely over Kyle Pitts. That's my opinion. Adam Varner says Pearson Love would be nice. No doubt about that. Is it working? Destin. It's going to be cold in Destin, too. Earl's Picks. Yo, what's up, Earl? Stay warm this morning. Happy anniversary. Thank you. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Charles. Charles is going on year 13. This is his 3rd, last, and best wife. This is my 2nd, and I promise you last. Yeah. No. I don't. You people that got married more than twice. I mean, if you want a death wish, you can just go out and do something stupid and get put in jail or something. I mean, you crazy? If it doesn't work after the 2nd time, what makes anyone think that it would work after the 3rd or the 4th? No, I guess it has. I mean, I'm sure there are living examples, but I'd be willing to bet that I learned so much in my first marriage, okay? Don't get me wrong. I've done a lot of stupid crap. Again, if she's watching, who knows? Maybe she'll chime in. I've done a lot of stupid crap in my 2nd marriage. But I learned a whole lot about first. I will tell you this. If something happens and whatever. It ain't happening again. Just who would do that third time? I see people fourth, fifth, sixth times. It's crazy. I'll bring you on in a second, Gabe. Hang on. I want to get through a couple things here. Yeah, that's a lot of snow. Yeah, Jody says no thanks. Daryl says in Little Rock, still 5 inches of snow. 25 degrees is Charles's limit. Emily Varner says it's 15 degrees in Indiana right now. No, thank you. Yes, potential that there. Now, I don't think it's not going to be like, like what you saw this week in Little Rock or anywhere else across the heartland. Lance wants to know, does it count if your wife has become 3 different people over 25 years? Lance? No comment, dude. Not even going to try. Ain't doing it. Nope. Good morning, JoJo. We got some love for JoJo this morning coming up in a few minutes. In fact, less than a few minutes. Zach will be here any moment. He's still not back there, so I'm taking my time with some of these comments. Let's see. Earl says about his coffee, he drinks 3 20-ounce cups a day, but by 10 a.m., but he goes to work at 4:45. Okay. Yeah, and UBN says he doesn't drink coffee. That's probably a really good thing. Yeah, Aptly, I'm glad you. This is actually something that I meant to bring up, but I forgot to put it in my notes. So I'm glad you typed it up here. Did I see Todd Monken, the new coach of the Cleveland Browns, gassing up Shador? I wanted to draft you last year. No, I didn't see that. But what I did see is some obnoxious, moronic, silly, ridiculous. Who was it? Was it Acho that was talking about why would Shador want to play for Todd Monken? Who's Todd Monken? Well, who's Shador Sanders, you jackass? Did y'all see this? Go type this in on Google. Somebody actually said this. That Shador Sanders shouldn't want to play for Shador Sanders should be glad that he has a job. Oh, he said, Gabe says, no, why would he listen to Todd Monken? Because it's your boss, you dumbass. Acho is Emmanuel. His first name's Emmanuel, right? Emmanuel Acho. Dumbass Louis. Gabe, can you send Zach a link? I forgot to do that, apparently. He will do that. No wonder why he's not in the ground. He needs a link to get in. I mean, are you serious? A 5th-round draft pick. Why should he listen to his head coach? Because maybe he wants to play? He's not probably, he shouldn't play anyway. Don't get me started. Yes, Antoinette, she is perfect. She absolutely is perfect. Absolutely. No doubt. All right, before we get to Zach, and again, one more thing that I want to talk about, and we're going to, of course, we'll have more comments here this morning. Let me tell you about our friends at Evangeline Securities. Of course, well, if you don't know by now, then you just haven't been paying attention. Who are they? They're a company that can help decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. And just as importantly, they can figure out what that business is worth. That's you. If it's someone you know, someone you love, someone you like, you know what? They need my help, and it's that time of year. I'm going to help them. Time to reach out to Evangeline's founding partner, Nick Braden. It's always a Super Bowl for Nick. He will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from his office, either on Poydras Street or in Lafayette. And from there, you will be well informed to begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. What happens after that? Well, you're going to have to wait a little bit till after we talk to Zach. We'll tell you more later in the show. In the meantime, you can check him out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. You also know who else you can check out. JoJo, he's here. He's watching. He gets to watch himself on TV here on the show. If you own a small business of fewer than 20 employees, you know how tough it is to get the best rates on health insurance. That's why you want to call Joe DiStefano Insurance. Joe and I have known each other for almost 40 years. I can tell you that he's someone that I trust. Look, health insurance shouldn't be one size fits all. And with Joe DiStefano, you get access to PPO networks and flexible plans designed to fit you, not just a cookie cutter mold. Joe's licensed, he's local, but he can help you no matter where you live and operate. From preventative care to peace of mind, we'll tailor a plan that works for your life today and tomorrow. Call Joe DiStefano at 504-234-2132 to protect what matters most. All right, time to get rolling with the show this morning. Zach is in the green room, but before he comes in, I told you I was going to talk about this very quickly. We're going to give it 1 minute. Zach will probably chime in on this as well because he likes stupid-ass trends that don't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things. We'll call them Gabe trends. That's what we're going to call them because Gabe always brings up the dumbest crap you could ever imagine and loves to bet on him. He'll like bring him up in his pick'ems. No wonder why he struggled there towards the end. Anyway, saw this morning in Bleacher Report's mailbag, whatever you got, newsletter. First of all, again, it's not news. The Patriots are wearing white jerseys. They made it like it was news. It's not news. If you don't know this, then you're not paying attention. But it's the AFC, the home team 1 year. The NFC, Eagles wore what'd they wear last year? I don't even remember. Whatever it is. Anyway, it goes back and forth. All right, all-time teams in white jerseys are 37. This is for you, Zach Ewing. 37-22 in Super Bowls. They're 16-5 in the last 21 Super Bowls. And here's the best one of all. The Patriots are 5-0 in their white jerseys this year, including in the AFC Championship game. They've worn white in their last 4 Super Bowls. Their record, 3-1. That doesn't get you fired up about betting the New England Patriots. I don't know what the hell will, Zach Ewing.
Can we just start somewhere else, man? You know what? The Patriots are undefeated on the road this year. That's they wear their white jerseys on the road. That's much more predictive. Let's talk about that.
You love these kind of trends.
No.
Here's my thing, though. If does it matter why it is a trend? I mean, if it continues to work, why wouldn't you say, okay, you know what, I give in?
It's like saying when I step on the crack outside my house on the way to the car, I have a good day, and when I don't, I have a bad day. Just because it happened 3
step on the damn crack. Break your mother's back. Nobody cares.
Okay, but stepping on the crack doesn't cost me money if the trend is suddenly. I may bet on the Patriots because I have a future on the Seahawks. That's why I would bet on the Patriots.
I have a future the other way. Maybe you and I should like come up with some kind of like hedge amongst each other.
Revenue sharing.
Yeah, I mean that's the best I could do because I'm like sure the friggin' Seahawks are going to win because I have 3 futures actually on the. I kept loading up on the Patriots every time I got a good number. Charlie Conforto says we can take the Patriots to the bank. Oh, man, that's the kiss of death. Good morning, Zach, says Charles Mangus. Jerry's here. Good morning. Where I showed you Lance was here. All right. I actually want to start off with, I know I showed this, and there's your tip to what's coming up later on in the show. The clipboard holder was hired by the Buffalo Bills, their offensive coordinator.
I wish I had been a fly on the wall in the room when you found that out.
You're right. Because there's no one here. And I promise you, I was talking as if someone was here. I do talk to myself.
I just find it funny. Does your son still like worship Josh Allen?
Yes.
That he walked on it?
Yes.
You guys are going to be like this on the Bills next year, man.
Oh, why? You think they're going to be good?
Well, Allen will keep them competitive. They'll certainly be competitive. We'll see how good. But
spoiler alert: I'm taking the under Bills win total next year, whatever it is.
It's hard to be bad when you have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But I'm with you. I don't know that they're going to be like elite. I'm not sold on Joe Brady as a head coach. I'm not sold on Pete Now, Pete Carmichael's not going to be calling plays. I assume Joe Brady will call plays.
Yeah, right. He'll be doing what he's doing now, and that'll be holding a clipboard.
But I mean, like, do we know if Joe Brady can be a head coach? Some guys just can't do it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not running to the window to bet Bills overs next year.
I'm betting the under on the Buffalo Bills. That is my spoiler alert. We'll get to that. But I actually want to start off. I want to spend like maybe 3-4 minutes talking about LSU this morning, at least. And I want to spend like 1 or 2 talking about Garrett Nussmeier, and you guys were writing about it on NOLA.com. Matt Paris, I believe, is in Mobile, wrote about Garrett Nussmeier and had a nice story. I mean, I thought Nussmeier was very very forthcoming and talking about what happened to him and his injury and everything like that, and saying, at some point, it
was he though? We still don't know what the hell
was.
injury it was. No one will say what it was.
Well, I mean, I think he was pretty good about saying, telling you, like, went through what was happening. He couldn't do it. He realized he couldn't do it when he couldn't throw whatever pass, and he's like, I can't do it. So I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good story. Check it out on NOLA.com. But my question is not necessarily about the injuries. He's going to play in the Senior Bowl, so it's obviously not super major, although they told him that maybe he should have had surgery, and he's passing up on surgery. That could be a problem later. But where does Garrett Nussmeier go in this draft? He could, if he would have left LSU before last year, which a lot of Tigers fans probably would have liked, might have saved Kelly's job. Who knows? But he would have probably been in the top 5 of last year's draft.
Yeah, what a sliding doors. I mean, if Nussmeier goes into last year's draft, I don't know who LSU's quarterback would have been at that point, because they had already lost Bryce Underwood before Nussmeier made his decision. So it makes you wonder, they would have had to go get someone out of the portal most likely.
Yeah.
And it was kind of late to be doing. Like, I don't know who they would have ended up with. That would have been very interesting to see. And does that mean Lane Kiffin is still at Ole Miss and Brian Kelly is still at LSU? Who knows? A lot of things would have changed, and somebody would have ended up with Garrett Nussmeier and probably been kicking themselves for making that first round pick. Maybe somebody who had the number 9 pick. I don't know.
Man, just being a smart ass here trying to rile up people, but there's a 0.0 chance that Garrett Nussmeier is a New Orleans Saint.
I wouldn't say 0. I would say about.
I'm going to say it. Okay, you say 0.5.
The 0.5 is they find someone willing to pay too much for Spencer Rattler, and they need a backup. And here's Doug Nussmeier, and say, hey, let's take my son in the 4th round. I think he'll be better when he's. It's not a good chance, but I wouldn't say 0.0.
Okay, well, I haven't used 0.0 in a while, except when I'm talking about Evangeline Securities. But other than that, I'm using it here. 0.
It's not a good chance. That is
0.0. Jerry says Nuss will be selected from 1 to 6 or 7. And our 6, 7, we've got you on the show. That's coming up. I'll tell you why in just a minute. All right. So where do you think he's going? If you had to predict where Garrett Nussmeier, I mean, I don't even think he can't be a first round pick anymore, right? I mean, even if he has, like, this great Senior Bowl and he has a great combine and whatever it is, what's the ceiling for Garrett Nussmeier? Gabe Henderson says he still thinks he's going into the Rams. He'd be a great fit there.
If he has a great pre-draft process between the Senior Bowl, the combine, LSU's pro day, whatever else he decides to do, workouts for teams, I could see him getting into day 2. Possibly as high as like a late second round type thing. He's not getting into the 1st round.
Yeah.
I think as of right now, if the draft was this weekend, he'd go 4th round. Somebody will take a flyer on the guy.
I think he's going before that.
He could certainly get himself into the 3rd round with a good pre-draft workout. And the flip side is, like, that's one thing I don't understand, why he hasn't been more forthcoming about exactly what the injury is, because the NFL teams are going to find out. They are going to want physicals. They're going to want doctors to look at him. They're going to want to know exactly what the prognosis is, even to use a 3rd or 4th round pick.
Another reason why it's 0.0 he comes to the Saints, because I promise you, his dad, who just so happens to work for the New Orleans Saints, knows exactly what's wrong with him. He ain't coming here. Just saying.
He may know that there's really nothing wrong with him. I don't know. I mean, or that it's healed. I'm just saying Chris Olave at the end of the year, said something about how Spencer Rattler deserved a chance to start with another team. It was kind of a weird comment.
Yeah.
I don't know why he would say that if he didn't think there was some chance that Rattler was going to be shopped, or if he was just trying to pump him up. I don't know. It was a weird comment, and it left a sliver of possibility in my mind that possibly somewhere somebody sees Rattler as a starting quarterback and says, hey, Saints, we'll give you a 2nd round pick for him. And if you're the Saints, you almost have
wait, hold on. A what pick?
I mean, if you believe he's a
Rattler,
if you believe he's a starting quarterback.
Come on, man.
Okay, 3rd round. let's say third round.
Come on, man.
If you believe he's a starting quarterback and that you could start him in 2026, you would be willing to give the Saints something pretty good for. I mean, he's got 2 years left on a rookie contract still.
Nah.
Like, that's a valuable guy if you think he's a starting caliber quarterback. Now, that's a big if in my mind. But like I said, that Olave comment just leaves a sliver of possibility in my mind. And if that's the case, you can't say no if you're the Saints. You cannot say no to that. And if that's the case, then you need a backup quarterback. So whether you go sign a veteran or whether you draft one, I don't know. But I'm just saying,
if someone offered a 4th round pick, and this is being like pie in the sky, hopes and wishes and dreams. If someone offered a 4th round pick right now to the Saints for Spencer Rattler, you pretend like you're thinking about it, and 5 minutes later you say, "Okay, we'll do it."
Exactly.
Twist my arm.
Exactly.
I mean, he'd be gone in a second.
Exactly. And that's why the fact now, maybe Chris Olave doesn't know anything and he just wanted to say something nice about a guy he likes and who's his teammate, who he thinks is not getting enough attention. I don't know. Maybe he knows nothing, but like I said, it just leaves that one kernel of possibility in my mind of like, well, what if they are getting offers for the guy? And what if one of them is good enough to where they can't say no? And then they do need to draft a quarterback. I don't know. I'm just saying it's not impossible.
Look, I like to point out the dumbass of the week, and we had him on Monday, so the dumbass of the week award's going. This might be the comment of the week. Apathy says he's stubbing his toe the whole 9 yards to rush to the phone. I mean, UBN says I would trade Rat for a bag of Zaps and a King. No, because I'm on a diet, so I actually wouldn't. I would not. I've been on a diet for a month, so no, I cannot do it. Where there was one other comment about this. Well, there's two actually. Adam says Rattler isn't starting caliber. Well, maybe not, but somebody might think he is. I mean, I agree with Zach on that part of it. Lance says, weird comment. Mickey's on a roll. Rat ain't going nowhere. Quality cheap backup for quarterback with injury history. I'm just going to say, Lance and everyone else, if the Saints were offered anything more than a 5th round pick, you're immediately saying you're not pass and go. You're not, whatever. You're taking the deal.
5th round pick, I don't know, man. I mean, Rattler's not. He does have some value to you. Do you want? I think
you
it has
to find another backup that's at least as good as Spencer Rattler on the cheap. I'm just saying, and I'm not even throwing shade on Spencer Rattler. I'm just saying values. There is no. And I don't mean this is going to sound wrong because, again, fans don't understand what values are. I think there is literally almost zero trade value for Spencer Rattler. You're talking about a medium, at best, average backup quarterback in the NFL, which means he's probably, if you had to rate quarterbacks from 1 to 60, he's probably 45th, 47th, somewhere in that vicinity.
Yeah, average backup. Yeah.
Okay, so an average backup, their worth is probably in the neighborhood of 6th round pick. So if somebody offers me a 6th round pick, I'm not taking that. I would keep Spencer Rattler for a 6th round pick because you don't want to mess up continuity. But if somebody's offering me a 4th round pick, I'm definitely taking it. 5th, I'm thinking about it, which means you get back what you put in. And you can go and get you can go get a backup quarterback in the draft or get a cheap backup quarterback in free agency. I can't believe we're spending the time talking about it.
Yeah, okay. So 3 years ago, Trey Lance got a 4th round pick. Spencer Rattler's more accomplished than Trey Lance.
I don't deny that.
I mean,
I would rather have Trey Lance.
No, I think Trey Lance at the time still had 4 years of team control, so that's part of it too. Where Rattler would only have 2. So I think a 4th round pick to me is a maybe because you've got to either spend money or spend a draft pick on the backup at that point. Yeah. A 3rd round pick, I'm saying, yeah. I mean, this is all very far-fetched. I'm just trying to move you off of 0.0. That's the only thing.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just don't think any of those things happen. I'm 0.0 on Nuss. So I don't know. UBN thinks every quarterback that's ever played for the San Francisco 49ers besides Joe Montana, Steve Young, and Brock Purdy is awful. I'm just going to throw that out there. That's an absolute fact. Just saying that. All right. So anyway, Nussmeier is, we'll see what happens with the Senior Bowl and going forward. Also with LSU football, I did not put this in a headline, anything, just, I'm sure you agree with everyone else that what Lane Kiffin has done in the portal is just insane.
Oh my God. I mean, could you have possibly drawn it up any better?
I mean, did you think Jordan's? I didn't even think, even without Jordan Seaton, it was the number one portal class.
And then you had a top 10 pick as a left tackle. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's insane what he's done.
Jordan Seaton would have made the portal class for almost any other team in the country. And he was just sort of like, the way we put it on the LSU Insider is you can't call him a cherry on top of the sundae because he's like a whole nother scoop of ice cream. But like,
yeah,
they got the best left tackle in the draft, or in the portal, excuse me. They've got probably the best edge rusher in the portal in Prince Will Iman-Mielon. And it's arguable at quarterback, but Sam Levitt is certainly up there with the Hoover kid who went to Indiana, or who else moved in the transfer portal? I'm forgetting now, but there's 3 or 4 quarterbacks you could throw out there and say, I don't know who's the best, but Levitt is certainly one of them. So
yeah,
they got the premium guys at 3 huge positions. They got 10 wide receivers. That's my one question is, do they have an alpha at wide receiver? They'll need to figure that part out. But I think their running game will be much improved. The O-line should be improved. The quarterback play should be improved. And assuming Levitt is healthy, that's another question. And that means you could probably deal without a superstar wide receiver as long as you have a couple of good ones.
I mean, I think Lane Kiffin could probably make one of those guys a superstar receiver.
We'll see. Or it could just Trey'Dez Green might be the superstar, and these other guys are all kind of spreading the rest of the targets around. But I think the offense will be much improved. We know a little bit more about what the defense has. They could be really, really good. Now, we said that last year. They got the top-ranked transfer portal class last year, and we all said they could be pretty good. We don't know how they're going to fit together, but I think that it's a legitimate, if it comes together, this should be a playoff team, and anything less would be a disappointment. I agree. I mean, I think that's the only thing is now Lane Kiffin has backed himself into the corner. I'm sure he likes that, whereas he has to make the playoffs now. I mean, if you sign this class, you kind of have to. Well, I wouldn't say have to.
I mean, I'm not saying he's going to get fired or anything. I'm just saying you'll have the numbnuts coming out of the woodworks, especially even the ones that love them saying, "Oh, I can't make the playoffs. What's going on?"
Weird stuff happens. Like injuries happen, or you might go 10-2 and be like Vandy this past year, and 10-2 is not quite good enough. And it's like, well, are we really complaining about 10-2? I wouldn't sit here and say he has to, but I do think the expectation is there. Sure.
Yeah. By the way, Charles says Rat is a little better than Shedeur Sanders. I would take Rat every day, Christmas, Mardi Gras, the 4th of July, and even I would take Rat and the Easter Bunny over Shedeur Sanders.
Are you vouching for Spencer Rattler to go to the Pro Bowl?
Rat deserves to go to the Pro Bowl over Shedeur Sanders. Absolutely. Give me a break. That is the most ridiculous thing I've seen in the NFL in a long time.
You know what my favorite part about that is? My favorite part about that is that in order to be eligible for the Hall of Fame, you have to have a postseason honor, and the Pro Bowl counts. So Shedeur Sanders one day will be on the Hall of Fame.
You know what's so stupid? I mean, if this dude plays 5 years and probably if he has 78 interceptions to 42 touchdowns and has a quarterback rating of 23, there'll be idiots who vote for him. 100%. There'll be absolute morons who the same people probably who vote against Belichick to be in the Hall of Fame will probably vote for Shedeur Sanders to be in the Hall of Fame one day. I'm just saying. Ryan Ashe says he hopes Rat gets another chance somewhere else to prove him right. He can play a little. You know what? I don't have a problem with that. I hope he does get another chance. I mean, I hope you're right. I don't have anything. I mean, I've said this 1,000 times. I'll say it 1,001. The way Spencer Rattler has handled himself throughout all this, I think has been fantastic. He has not bitched once like a lot of people would. I find it interesting. How come there aren't people out there bitching about Spencer Rattler the way they're bitching about Shedeur Sanders? I mean, give me a break. Haven't they won the same amount of games? One?
No, Shedeur won 2.
Oh, did he win 2? Oh,
At least they beat the Raiders and they beat somebody else.
Oh, well, He's a GD superstar. Let's move on, and I want to talk about women's basketball just for a minute. And look, we haven't talked about them all year, and I know you guys on the Insiders, LSU Insiders podcast, were talking about it. And look, they're worth talking about. They're now 20-2, the LSU women's basketball team. Zach, before I talk about them winning 6 in a row and what they've done the last 2 weeks since they lost their first 2 SEC games, is this a national championship contender?
Contender, absolutely. I wouldn't call them the favorite. UConn is probably better than them. We'll find out. South Carolina comes to the PMAC on Valentine's night. I think that's also Endymion night, Jim. Big night.
It is a big night.
LSU, South Carolina, national TV, ABC on a Saturday night is a big deal. So we'll find out. But yeah, I like this team. I think I like this team better than the last couple of years. If you look at some of the things that they have, one thing is point guard play. Jada Richard has really stabilized their point guard. If you go back through Kim Mulkey's career, all of her best teams, and she has a good team every year, but her best teams all have solid not necessarily superstar point guard play,
right,
but a really solid point guard. It was Alexis Morris for LSU's national championship team in 2023, and Jada Richard has really stabilized that position. And one thing that's allowed them to do is use, like, Malaysia Fulwiley can now come off the bench and play off the ball where she's better. That frees her to do. She's kind of a freelance type player. She's been really good. This 5-game, so they lost to Kentucky and Vanderbilt to open SEC play. And there was a little bit of a panic of, the non-conference schedule was terrible. And now they're 0-2 and the SEC is tougher this year. They're not going to get a top 4 seed. Well, they've put that to bed. They've won, as you say, 6 in a row, including beating Texas at home, winning at Oklahoma, a couple of top.
Not just winning at Oklahoma, walloping Oklahoma, winning by 19 last Sunday, and Oklahoma's the number 10 team in the country.
I'd actually have to look. I didn't see who their leading scorer was last night, but going into last night during that 5-game winning streak, they had 4 different leading scorers. Flau'jae Johnson did it twice, but then there was Michaela Williams, Jada Richard, and Malaysia Fulwiley each led them in scoring in one of those games. So this team has scoring depth, unlike the previous teams that had. Even the national championship team at LSU did not have this type of scoring depth.
Leading scorer, it was tied, by the way, between Williams and Flau'jae.
Okay, so there you go. And I think they have 4 or 5 players in double figures every single night.
They had 6 last night.
Players in double figures. Maybe we can go for 7. The scoring depth is, even that 2023 team didn't have anything like this. The thing that's holding them back and that may eventually cause them to crash out, it may be is in the Final Four, is size. They don't have the really skilled post player on the inside. South Carolina is a huge team with a lot of size. That's what I'll be watching for in a couple weeks when they play. How does LSU deal with that? Because that's what, now they dealt with Madison Booker in Texas. They beat them, but South Carolina's got 2 or 3 players of that sort of size and that skill inside. And that's where I think LSU may finally meet its match.
And just nice how they rebound. We talked about it, 20-2, lost their first 2 SEC games against Kentucky and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is in the top 5. And no excuses though. When you're LSU, you just don't want to lose. I mean, the SEC is going to be, again, in this tournament, it's going to be absurd when they get to the tournament. The SEC, I think, obviously besides maybe UConn, they're just going to be dominating this thing.
It may be the best the SEC has ever been in women's basketball. And
that's saying something.
Sounds like hyperbole, but when you consider Texas and Oklahoma are now part of the league, both top 10 teams, and they weren't before, add that to South Carolina, add that to LSU. And then teams like Vanderbilt is in the top 20, Alabama is in the top 20, Kentucky is in the top 20, Tennessee is in the top 20. It is a tremendously good conference. It
really is. And so going down the stretch here over the course of the next month and a half, we'll be talking a lot more about LSU women's basketball. So if you love that kind of thing, you'll find it more here on the Dattitude podcast, especially when Zach comes on, because he is knowledgeable about it. We're going to have on some LSU. So on Wednesdays, when we have our guest segment, we'll have more LSU stuff coming up in the next couple months too, as well.
You get ready for the LSU men's basketball coaching.
Oh God, I really liked Matt McMahon. I thought it was a good hiring when they first hired him, but I mean, look, he's got to go, man.
It's a little bit of a nice guys finish last.
It's so bad. It's like you want to talk about at least the Pels. I can watch the Pels because they have players that I'm interested in, and so at least trying to see where they're going forward and trying to figure them out. LSU men's basketball is just it's unwatchable. It's terrible.
They played really well up at Arkansas over the weekend, and they probably should have won that game.
And then you just get stoned by Mississippi State.
And then the schedule lightens up, and you're looking at it, and you're going, well, they've got Didon Thomas back there. Maybe they can go on a little bit of a roll here and get themselves back on the bubble, and Matt McMahon could say. And then they get 20-pieced at home by
insane.
A bad Mississippi State team.
That's not – how does that even happen? I don't even know. So, I mean, we haven't talked any about them, but I'm just trying to – there's nothing else to say about that team except it's just time to make a change there. I got to be honest. I'm surprised they haven't already. I mean, you talk about things at LSU and
well, what's the point of doing it now?
I get no. I'm not saying now. I'm just saying before. Like, why wasn't it done? Here goes Gabe with the bring back. Please do not bring back Will Wade.
Oh, I think LSU would love to bring back Will Wade. I just don't know why. Why would Will Wade do that? He's got a good job.
Good. I hope he doesn't.
There's
enough douchebags in the state of Louisiana.
We talked about that on the LSU Insider podcast yesterday, a little bit about men's basketball. We talk a lot about women's basketball, a little about men's basketball and what could be coming down the pipe. So it's worth a listen. And look, I just think one issue LSU has is that there's just a lot of mouths to feed. We've talked about how much money has gone into this football transfer portal class, how much money went into the coaching change.
Mm-hmm.
Both buying out Brian Kelly and hiring Lane Kiffin, money for his staff. Got to keep Blake Baker around. That wasn't cheap. And then all the transfers. LSU baseball is going to want money.
They are.
We talked to Jay Johnson on the LSU Insider a couple of weeks ago. You can go find that. And he talks about, LSU's not necessarily the richest of the rich in college baseball anymore. They're up there. I mean, I'm not saying they're crying poor, but they're not quite like Arkansas or Vanderbilt where there's not as many mouths to feed. And so you've got, LSU baseball, LSU women's basketball wants some NIL money and revenue sharing. Gymnastics is high profile on this campus, unlike it is almost anywhere else. And so where does that leave men's basketball? There's just not is Will Wade going to want to come to that situation where you're fourth or fifth on the totem pole? I'm not sure any coach is going to really want to unless they're coming from like a low major type situation.
Lance likes my no more douchebags in the state of Louisiana. I'm just saying, I'm not a Will Wade fan at all. He might be a great basketball coach, but you could find a good
with the new president though.
Find a good basketball coach. All right, let's move on. I want to talk Saints here, and before we get to what we're going to talk about this morning, our title slide, our lead topic this morning, we're getting to at the 53-minute mark, but I want to ask today's poll question. I don't usually wait until the 53-minute mark to ask the poll question, but I asked our Dattitude family, and I'm going to give their answers as we go along here, but I ask you all as well. If you want to respond, please do so in the chat. What would the Saints be better? Let me just read it. Who would you rather the Saints go after in free agency? You can only pick one. Would you rather have wide receiver Alec Pierce from the Indianapolis Colts, or would you rather have running back Breece Hall? Now, from the Jets. It seems like an easy question, Zach, and I'm going to go through some of the regulars' answers this morning, but I'm going to give my opinion as soon as I say this. Okay, so Tedder says Breece Hall. Adam Varner says Alex Pierce. Chad Gage says Pearson draft a running back, hopefully Jeremiah Love. Manga says Breece Hall. And S. Callie says Breece Hall. So here's my opinion, and I'm sure we'll get some in the comments here in a minute. My thought process is this. I would probably rather, if I'm going to get one of these two guys, and I'm not necessarily sure because I think they're going to spend a lot of money on a guard, but if we were told you're going to get one of these guys on free agency, I think it was Chad, whoever said, I would rather take Alex Pierce and then draft Jeremiah Love, because I think that's the best route. You get a Jeremiah Love on a rookie contract to go along with Shuck's rookie contract, and then spend money on a guy like Alex Pierce. I think Breece Hall is the better player. So in a vacuum, I would rather have Breece Hall. But I think for this team and where they're going in the future, I think they would be better off signing Alex Pierce if they want to sign one of the two. Oh, yeah, Alex Pierce. Yeah,
In
Gabe
a
says that was
vacuum, I agree with that. I think the best case scenario, if you're telling me that the Saints are definitely signing either Alec Pierce or Breece Hall, and they're definitely going to have a chance to draft Jeremiah Love, then it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
You sign Pierce and draft Love. But there's a lot of variables there. First of all, I think neither is probably the most likely.
Lance says neither.
I just think the Saints don't have a ton of money to spend. They're going to have more money to spend in 2027 as long as they don't do anything.
For sure.
Huge. So that's when you're going to see a more splashy move, in my opinion. I think this offseason, you're more likely to see them fill in around the edges, get that guard. That would be your one definite starter. If you don't bring back Alante Taylor, we've talked so much about Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara. Alante Taylor may be the most important decision the Saints have as far as who to bring back.
Yeah.
Because he's probably going to command a pretty decent sized contract, and he's a free agent. So if you don't bring him back, you have a very young cornerback room, and you don't have that more physical corner who can come down and rush the passer or support in the run game. That becomes a hole. And so if you don't sign Taylor, you need to go get one of those either in the draft or free agency as well. So I do think there's other places they could go in free agency, but in terms of the question, I'm just more willing to spend money on a wide receiver than I am a running back. Breece Hall is one I like as far as a running. He's only 24. I think he'll be 25 next season. He's been pretty productive.
He's going to be 25 next year.
Yeah. And
Alec Pierce is going to be 26 next year.
If you were going to spend money on a running back, I like
211 Alec Pierce, by the way.
But if I know, and I guess that's the argument is there's a few wide receivers who you could take in the first round of the draft. There's really only the one running back. And if you, for some reason, do not get Jeremiah Love and you don't sign one in free agency, then you're kind of are you just running it back next year?
Right.
Pick up another running back in the third round or something. So I guess my answer is Pierce, but I just think there's so many variables, it's almost impossible to answer.
Yeah. Lance, I hear you saying Sanker replace Alante Taylor. Sanker's a safety. He's a safety. So I don't know that really draft a corner. And I don't think that's going to happen. He wants Linderbaum. That kind of leads me into what I'm getting ready to get into. By the way, Kyle Sherman, good morning. You're joining late. We'll catch the first hour later. We're glad you're here. And we had a lot of fun things to talk about this morning. So yeah, you want to go back and catch it. All right. I got a little a slide to show you here with a chart. And this is all based off, and I said this was in the Slack channel chat with Zach that this show, the title of this show was for you because in the ESPN rankings of free agent possibilities, the top 12 free agents, Pierce is 6, Hall is 7. That was for you. But you talked about Alante Taylor. He's 12th on this list of top 12 free agents. And so it kind of goes to what you're talking about. Lance wants Linderbaum. The Saints don't need a center. Okay. They're not going to spend any money on a center. They have Eric McCoy. I get that Eric McCoy gets injured, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to spend money on a center, and certainly not one that's going to command the money that Linderbaum's going to command. So if you go down some of this list, and you know who's not on this list, you got to go way down to find. This is a big year for guards. I'm kind of surprised that the top guard, and I'm scrolling down here. The first guard on this list is Isaac Samolo at number 31. He's 32 years old, so that's out because you don't want to sign a 32-year-old guard, in my opinion. Next would be Zion Johnson from the Chargers, but I really like David Edwards from Buffalo. He's going to be 29 going into next year. The Bills probably aren't going to be able. They've got 2 free agent linemen on. They've been so steady at on their offensive line. They're going to lose one of their linemen. It's probably going to be Edwards, and I think he would be a great fit here in New Orleans.
Yeah, look, I think the reason the guards are that far down is just positional value. It's just not – they're not going to get paid as much as these guys. And to some of the people commenting, and this has to do with Pierce and Hall as well, like almost anybody on that list fits with the Saints in a vacuum. You could say, well, do they really need a center? Well, no, but Tyler Linderbaum's a damn good player, and you could move somebody around and he can help you. Trey Hendrickson could help you. George Pickens could help you. But
sure.
Pierce and Hall can help you. But
not Daniel Jones.
There's an opportunity cost here. Are you going to say, that's our free agent for this class, and then everybody else is just going to be little contracts to fill around the edges because that's all the money you have. Okay,
Right.
and I don't think the Saints need anybody on that list except for Alontae Taylor. I think, again, I'm not saying they have
I think
to
they can find a way to re-sign Taylor and go get a big-time guard in
I
this free
agree.
agency.
But those would basically be the moves you're making in free agency. Everything else is going to have to, other than little moves around the periphery.
Right.
You can fill in certainly and maybe find a backup, a tight end or something like that in free agency. But I agree with you. I don't mind the idea of Samalo, even though he's older, because you could get him on a shorter term deal. And
Right.
I think that's okay. And then you start drafting a couple of guards over the next 2-3 years and see if you can find the replacement of the future for both him and Cesar Ruiz. He would buy you time to do that. And so I don't mind Samalo. I don't mind Joel Bitonio from Cleveland. The guy from Buffalo you mentioned, I forget his name, but
David Edwards.
Yes. Any of those guys I think fit. Ed Ingram from Houston.
Bitonio was 42nd. You're talking about, and look, some of these guys aren't even. There's just not a lot of guards in the top 50, which doesn't matter to me. It also
you're right. It's a great year to need a guard in free agency. It's a great year for that because there's so many of them available that you're probably going to get a pretty good one without having to break them. If there's only one or two good ones, you have to compete with every team that needs a guard, and you may end up spending more than you want. So this is a great year to go get a guard in free agency. And I think it'll happen.
Ahmed says we have to compete with the Chargers for offensive line and free agency. The good news is, Ahmed, that, again, like we just said, this literally is the best year for guards in free agency that I've seen in many a year. Last year, it was some slim pickings. That's why the Saints ended up with Dylan Radins, besides the fact that they didn't have any money. So this year, they're a way better off situation. Don't get me wrong. They're not in a great situation, but they're way better off than they have been the last few years. That's why, and I know, Lance, you don't want to sign Alontae Taylor because you don't want to pay him top corner money. I am paying him top corner money because the Saints, I think, need to pay him top corner money. So I do think, again, I think you could sign Alontae Taylor for the money he's looking for and go get one of the guards. And to me, so talking about Alec Pierce, as much as I would like to have a guy like Alec Pierce, and they still may be interested. They still may go out and look for one of these wide receivers. But I just think those are your two. That's where you need to look. I think priority number one is probably Alontae Taylor re-signing. And then priority number two is going to get one of those top guards, in my opinion.
I saw one of your commenters say this. The other path the Saints could go is Mansour Delane from LSU. If you let Taylor go, Mansour Delane is in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, but man, you
draft him.
It's crazy.
He's really good. He fits the mold of a physical corner who could replace Alontae Taylor.
No.
That costs you the chance to draft a skill position player there. Maybe that leaves you some free agent money to go get a skill position player. So it to me, the Alontae Taylor discussion comes down really simply to one question. What does Brandon Staley want? Does he feel like Alontae Taylor fits? Because that is a very important position in his defense. And Alontae Taylor made a lot of big plays. He also was pretty inconsistent. He would also get burned from time to time. He would miss a tackle. He made some conspicuous errors at times. Brandon Staley knows way better than you or I what is going to fit in his defense and what he sees from Alontae Taylor day to day. And if he sees that maybe you could get a little more consistency, if you could, he is a top corner and you should pay him. But
I hear you.
If not, you need to go get somebody else. And I think Delane fits if you want to go the free agency route in free agency for a skill position player. And the other thing is, again, we don't know how the draft. What if the Chiefs jump up and get Jeremiah Love at 7 and Delane's sitting there for you at 8? Maybe then it becomes more of an option for you.
Someone was asking here. Let's see. Where was it? Ryan is asking what's top nickel corner money, and according to Spot Track, the top corners are making the following. I guess this is their cap hit. So I guess I shouldn't do cap hits. I should do their base salary, I guess, huh? Okay, base salary. Derek Stingley is making the most money next year at $21.5 million a year. Paulson Adebo, You know that name. He's next at 17.2. J.C. Horn at 17.1. Denzel Ward 16. So you're looking at those kinds of numbers, and I think Alontae Taylor is probably looking in the neighborhood of making 18 to 20 million a year. Is probably my guess. You think he's gonna go that high?
That would be rich. It really depends on who else wants him, and if a bidding war, like Paulson Adebo got, I think, 19 million per year last.
He's 17.2 this coming year is what he's making. So I don't know.
I think the AAV was like 19.
So I'll call up his. Go ahead.
Now he's more of an outside corner. So does Alontae go for that much? I don't think so.
He signed a 3-year, $54 million contract that included a $15 million signing bonus.
My guess is that Alontae doesn't get quite that high. If you could get him for 15,
which is what Gabe says,
14, 15, I would do that. Again, so much just depends on Brandon Staley. You have to trust Brandon Staley did a good job last year. Is he the guy I want in that spot? In San Diego, he had Derwin James in that spot who became a superstar. Can Alontae Taylor make that step for me? Or do I think I can do better in the draft or somewhere else in free agency? He's got to answer that question. If it's Alontae Taylor, the Saints will pay up to keep him. They'll pay 15.
Brian Cavett is here. He says, what's a guard contract going to look like? Can you pay Taylor a guard and Olave in the same year? Well, yeah, I mean, you absolutely can pay Olave. I mean, that's different. I think the top guards are probably going to make in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 a year. You're probably talking about a 4-year, $50 million contract with a signing bonus that's in there. That's my guess of what we're probably looking at.
Yeah.
3-year 40,
340, 450. It depends on which guy, obviously. You mentioned Samalo
67.
a little older. So would you sign him to any more than a 3-year deal? I don't think. But that is one area where the Saints need to overpay if necessary. Like you just got to get somebody in there that you can plug in.
And thanks for joining the show. But the comments like this, and you're not the only one that says this kind of stuff, but these are the sorts of comments that just poke me in the side. The first half by Alontae in that Miami game was dubious at best. You're picking out one half. The Saints played 34 halves this year. It's the same with the Chris Olave crap that bothers me when people get like nitpick stuff about different things. You can nitpick all day long. The fact is that if he's not the top cornerback available in free agency, he's one of the top 2 or 3. And if the Saints lose a guy like Alontae Taylor, you're like, you can move this guy and do this guy and move it. What's the best way to handle it? Re-sign the guy that you have already that's worth it. And then, Chris, I understand what you're saying too. If you spend on Taylor and Staley leaves or in a year or two worry about that in a year or two. You're worried about you want to win next year. And this team is actually in a position, I think, to where they can compete for the NFC South title next year, in my opinion. So you go out and try to win. I'm not worried about what happens if Brandon Staley decides to leave. I mean, that's silly.
It's unfair to single out one half, but it is true that Taylor has been inconsistent. I think that is true. There's a lot of times he'll make a big play, and in the same game he'll give up a really big play, and that's what you have to kind of measure.
So do a lot of other
figure
cornerbacks. I mean, people were bitching about Paulson Adebo. I mean, and he's the second highest paid cornerback in the NFL. I mean, so you can go through everything. But when you're talking about, cornerback to me, we talk about the important positions on the field. To me, cornerback might be the toughest position to play besides quarterback. I mean, cornerback literally might be the toughest position. It's certainly the toughest position on the defensive side of the ball, in my opinion. I mean, you got to keep up with these world-class wide receivers that are making all this money. So it's just hard to do. I mean, Lance, I get it. You don't like him, Lance. I get it. You don't want to spend the money on him. You're not the only one. You're the same. Like if Chris Olave moved on and Alontae Taylor stays, the next person that people are going to want to hate on would be Alontae Taylor.
But again, I see the same commenter earlier saying spend that money on Cam, Demario, O-line, and Hall if you can't get Love. Who's playing corner, man? Like if you don't want Alontae, that's fine. I think that's a legitimate opinion. But then you've created another hole, and that needs to be filled.
Yeah. Well, I I think that the Saints will probably do I'm not saying they will or they won't. But I think they're going to do everything they can. Again, what we think doesn't really matter. We're just giving you our thoughts, and I love having, the commenters, even when I don't agree with you. I'm glad to show your thoughts as well. But I think it doesn't matter what we think. I think the chances are that they're going to do everything they can to re-sign Alontae Taylor. I think it's probably 50-50 whether they do or not. That's my opinion.
I think it's very uncertain. I agree with that.
Speaking of 50-50, I also not a potential free agent. He is a free agent. And we've kind of talked about Demario Davis. And Demario Davis, for some people, the comments he made on Kay Adams' show earlier this week, I'm sure you saw them, are interesting ones. And he's more than leaving the door open, Zach. I've been saying Demario Davis, I think, is 50-50. I might go lower than that now. I mean, if you listen to him, he's going to make the Saints pay. And if you listen to Mickey Loomis on the other side, and they may be just doing their positioning, and hopefully he comes back. But I don't know, man. It's going to be an interesting chase of Demario Davis if that's what they really want.
It will be. Mickey did say yesterday in Mobile that he wants Demario back, and those discussions are ongoing. I agree with you, though. Demario sounded a little bit different on that show than he has in years past, where it was almost a foregone conclusion. Yeah, I'm coming back. It's interesting too. The presence of Danny Stutzman changes things.
Yeah, it does.
Saints probably don't feel like they need Demario Davis. He would leave kind of a leadership void. How much is that worth? Do they feel like they have a Justin Reed or somebody who can step into that on the defense? Those are all questions you've got to figure out. I think Demario, if he had his druthers, he'd be back. But yeah, he's not giving that discount. That interview was a little bit weird. Like Kay Adams kind of immediately jumped to, "Oh my God, you're saying you're not going to come back?" And Demario's like, "I didn't say that."
Right.
It was a little bit of a
she
weird.
Literally started crying too.
Yeah, I like Kay, but she kind of went overboard on that part of it. Like just jumped right to that conclusion. So and then Demario was almost like getting defensive after that. So it was a weird.
It was weird.
I really wouldn't read too much into it, other than, like you said, I do think he's at least open to the possibility, unlike the past.
Well, I think he's definitely open to it. That's why I say 50-50. And if you look at his contract, he was on a 2-year, $17.2 million. I actually think even though he's 37, I think it's going to cost more to bring him back. And not only that, because of his cap hit, which next year is scheduled to be $14 million cap hit, even though his contract's voided and he's on UFA. I mean, I think they would have to rework some things. I don't know what kind of contract he's going to get. It would be interesting for sure, but it's certainly going to be more than what he was getting paid before.
Yeah, probably so. And the other part of this, the other equation for the Saints is that with both Demario and Cam Jordan, they already have dead cap money,
right?
Significant dead cap money on this year's salary cap. And so it actually would help the Saints more for this year to re-sign them so that they can push some of that money down the road into years where they have more space, which is what I know everyone's don't kick the can down the road, but if you don't sign them, you have to deal with that cap hit this year. So there is a little bit more incentive for them to sign those guys and maybe spread some of that money out. And like we talked about, their cap is in a really good situation next year and the year after. So kicking a few million into 27 or 28 is not a big deal, but it certainly would help the 26 situation to do that.
To prove my 50-50 point, in back-to-back comments, you got Brian saying, Demario Davis is gone. You got Lance saying, Demario Davis is back, in back-to-back comments. So I think it's an interesting thing. And this, look, it's going to play itself out, but I think the Saints absolutely want him back again. Whether he comes back or not, we'll find out going forward. And we'll certainly be talking about that over the course of the next few weeks for sure. Luke Johnson wrote a story also on NOLA.com, you Saints insiders, talking about should the Saints use the Patriots blueprint. And I've been saying this, we talked about this Monday and I think a little bit on Wednesday, but I've been saying this for the past couple of weeks. I mean, there's no reason to think that the Saints can't follow that blueprint. I mean, if Tyler Shuck is what he looked like in that last half of the season when he took the reins, I don't see any reason why he can't be Drake May and move on.
It's a different situation. Okay, let's say that up front. Drake May was the was the number 3 pick The Patriots never had a question of whether he was going to be their future. That's not the case with Shuck. Having said that, Tyler Shuck's stats from his rookie year compare very favorably to Drake May's. Now, the biggest difference is the Patriots had gobs and gobs of salary cap space last year. Over $100 million in salary cap space. And they went out and they spent it, and they spent it in the right way. I mean, a lot of the guys, I think they got 8 starters or something like that signed in free agency last year, 8 guys who were starting for them. I mean, they really did a good job with that front office, finding guys who fit. And we see what the difference is. And then Drake May made a leap. Is it fair to expect Tyler Shuck to make a leap and be an MVP candidate? Probably not. That's, you just can't expect that. And so can the Saints follow the Patriots model? It should be the blueprint, but it's not quite the same situation. I think the Saints are going to need 2 years to get to that point versus 1.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. I agree with that wholeheartedly. We're going to come back to that question in a minute, but I want to say we've got a super chat here and a question from Jesse Jackson. Thank you so much, Jesse, for your donation and your support of our channel here on Dattitude. He asked, Zach, since DA had Zach Bond and failed, but then he moved on. Obviously, Zach Bond then became a Super Bowl champion and one of the MVPs of that Eagles defense. Do you think Brandon Staley could develop Harold Perkins if they were willing to draft him? Where do you think Harold Perkins goes? Do you think he would be a fit with the Saints as well?
To be honest with you, man, I'm not a big Harold Perkins in the NFL guy. Where does he play? He's only like 6'1", 220, very athletic. I mean, I'm not saying he has no chance, but he's a little bit of a square peg in a round hole for NFL purposes. He's too small to be a linebacker. He's too big to be a safety. I'm not sure he's got the coverage skills for that anyway. That was part of the problem at LSU is they kept moving him around, trying to figure out where he best fit, and also trying to keep his NFL stock in mind, helping him out. And I don't know that they ever found the answer to that question, even with 2 different defensive staffs trying to figure that out. I don't know. I mean, you'd probably have to draft him higher than I would be willing to.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and I haven't looked at any mocks at all. So I'm just like throwing this out there. But I would think that Harold Perkins is probably like a 2nd-round pick, wouldn't you think?
I'm not even sure he'd be that high, to be honest with you.
You don't think he would be that high? You think he'd be lower than 2nd round?
Yeah.
I think he's 2nd day?
Maybe third round, late 2nd day, maybe. I'm looking at Tankathon. They have him 91st, so late 3rd round.
Oh, okay. All right, well. Like I said, I was just throwing that out there. I've not looked at any mocks or any rankings yet. It's a little bit early for me, but that's just the first thing that came to my head. So, yeah, 90 means the end of the
pre-draft process, combine. Like, how strong are you? Have you put on some weight? That sort of thing. But I'm not a huge Perkins in the NFL believer.
Gabe says CBS has him as a late day 2, early day 3 pick, which goes kind of with 90. And again, I agree. It kind of depends on what happens in the combine as well. I know you're just being funny, but Patriots blueprint, you're hiring. You don't need to hire Vrabel to follow the Patriots blueprint. Again, you need money more than you need Vrabel. I don't think we know what Kellen Moore is. I mean, Kellen Moore, to me, the progress I saw from Kellen Moore, obviously he's not Mike Vrabel. Okay. But go ahead, please.
Mike Vrabel is a good coach. He is unequivocally a good coach. I'm a little bit mystified at how much credit he is getting from this. Again, like Drake May made a huge leap. Was that Mike Vrabel? Maybe. I mean, it could have been Josh McDaniels.
I think no matter who the coach is, well, let's say that with a caveat. I can't say no matter who the coach is, but obviously the coach matters. And like you say, Josh McDaniels, I think that obviously helped as well. But I think Drake May was just going to take that next step.
Yeah, I agree. I think he was going to take the next step. I think he's got it. And then they also, as I said, went out and got 8 starters in free agency. That yes, they went from 4-13 to 13-4. I am not saying Mike Vrabel deserves no credit for that. He is a good coach. I'm not trying to say he's not. But this whole, you can't do it without Vrabel. Vrabel's the clear cut. I don't even think he should be coach of the year. I think he's going to win it, but I would vote Mike McDonald over him. I think. Yeah,
but you go for 4-13 to.
But again, how much of that was Vrabel? Like
I think still a good bid.
You put any coach up there and give him 8 new high-priced starters and a quarterback who's going to take an MVP leap. Again, motivator. He deserves credit for some of it. I'm not saying he did a bad job, but this was a loaded year for Coach of the Year is part of that. And,
it definitely was. There's no doubt about that.
And I'm like, I don't think Kellen Moore is incapable of leading a team to that sort of heights. I like you said, do we really know what he is? We know Kellen Moore is an offensive play calling whiz. He's shown that at previous stops. Vrabel is more of the motivator type. He was a good fit for New England, but I certainly don't think he was the sole reason that they did this.
I mean, come on, UBN. Gerard Mayo's not taking. Nobody's saying Gerard Mayo would take the team to the Super Bowl, but does Mike McCarthy take this team to the Super Bowl? I don't know. Let me think of some mediocre. Does who? Kellen Moore take that team's? I don't know.
I mean, I'm not arguing either way. Mike Vrabel is a top 3rd in the NFL coach. He's probably a top 10 coach. I'm not trying to say he's not a good coach. But yeah, when you went from Gerard Mayo, who is the worst coach in the NFL without a doubt, to a top 10 coach, that is going to help. But there were a lot of things that helped.
And again, he's not giving Vrabel basically no credit.
You're just from the worst coach in the NFL to a top 10 coach. Yes,
exactly. That's not what he's saying. So look, I'm backing Zach here. That's not what he's saying. I mean, I would vote for Vrabel as Coach of the Year, but I understand what Zach's saying, and I don't. That's not what he's not giving him no credit. I mean, come on.
I'm putting Vrabel 3rd or 4th in the coach. I think what Ben Johnson did, what Liam Cohen did, and what Mike McDonald did was at least as impressive.
Yeah, but see, I'm going to say this about Mike McDonald, and I get it. They were playing great the last couple of weeks of the season, but you can't count anything in the postseason. That's another thing that people don't always understand. What happens in the postseason does not. People have already voted. The Coach of the Year it was voted on as soon as the regular season's over. You cannot count what happens in the postseason as part of
the Seahawks went 14-3 and got the number 1 seed.
Yeah,
so
I'm not taking away from that. I'm just saying you have to think about. Was it more likely that the Seahawks were going to go 14-3? If you had told me 14-3 and you said who's more likely before the season, the Seahawks or the Patriots, and I would say 100. I would say neither, but I would have said 100% the Seahawks
I would have said the Seahawks, but part of that is because I really like Mike McDonald's defense, so I could see them making that leap, but that doesn't mean he shouldn't get credit for it just because it didn't surprise us. Hello, Rock. We're glad you're here. We don't care whether you're late. We're glad you're here, and you can go back and watch what we're talking about earlier because we had a lot of fun. There's a comment back here from Jerry who says he just hates it when Saints staff members go to another team. He understands his business to make it better. That leads into, before we move on and talk about just maybe real quick, just what we think about the Super Bowl, and the clipboard holder going to the Bills. I've had you on a long time this morning, longer than usual, but the Saints have lost Jari Evans, who's in the Saints Ring of Fame. I think he's in the Ring of Honor, or if he's not, yeah, he is, right? Yes. Yep. Isn't Jari in there? Yeah. Okay. So, who is serving as the Saints assistant offensive line coach? Mike McCarthy has poached him, and they're also talking to Scott Tolzien as a potential offensive coordinator, which would take him away from. I think he did a lot to help Tyler Shuck this year. How big of a deal is Jari leaving? And how big of a deal would it be to see Scott Tolzien leave? I'm going to say Tolzien's the bigger deal because of what you said, because of what progress he made with the Saints quarterbacks. He was also just more involved. Jari Evans was not like the lead offensive line coach or anything like that. So you figure you can probably find as great of a player as he was. And I don't know, he may have been a very good coach too, but he was not playing as big of a role as Tolzien was. So I think Tolzien would be the bigger loss. We'll see what happens there. But I also feel like with those guys, Kellen Moore is the guy. That's one reason why you hire an offensive coach, because if you hire a defensive coach like Mike McDonald, he's going to have to probably replace Clint Kubiak, just like he replaced like you're replacing your offensive coordinator every year or two and finding a new play caller. That was who the hell knows what's going to happen. Kellen Moore is the one who's going to be purely responsible for calling plays, developing quarterbacks, that sort of thing. So I think the Saints can absorb both blows. Yeah, but at the same time, I 100% agree. But I just think that we can't probably factor in and guess how much
that Tolzien had to do with just developing Shuck. And people keep saying, well, Shuck should have started in week 1. And we keep trying to remind everyone that you probably wouldn't have seen the same Tyler Shuck had he started in week 1. The progression that he had in practice, probably those first 2 months on the bench is, I don't even think you can put a figure on probably what he learned those 2 months sitting on the bench.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't ready in September. He may not have been any better than Rattler. He may have been worse than Rattler if you started your first 5 weeks.
I mean, there's no question Rattler won the job. I mean, we can sit here and talk about that all day long. And even though I thought Shuck at the time, I said Shuck probably should have started, I was wrong. I'm glad Rattler started, and I think Rattler probably was the better quarterback at the time. And lastly, on the Saints, before we move on, Jeff Duncan writing about on NOLA.com about how the Paris talks are getting hot again. It went from they were going to play in Paris. Oh, no, wait, they're not going to play in Paris. And now it's heating up again, and looks like there's a good chance the Saints will play in Paris this coming year, which I just don't get me started on Europe games. They're stupid. But anyway, it looks like the Saints in there will get screwed again because you got 9. You wait to get the 9 home playoff games, and they're probably not going to get their 9 home playoff games. They're going to send them off to Europe.
Home playoff games, that's for sure.
I mean, not playoff games. 9 home games, not play. Yeah, that would be a lot of playoff games. I mean, even if whether we're at home or on the road, if you played 9 playoff games, that's a lot. But, you're going to screw you out of your 9 home games, and now you're only going to get 8, and you're going to have to go on the road. I would almost hope that if they do that, Zach, that if they do, I think, was it the Vikings that did it this past year where they went on the road, they went to Europe and they played 2 games there. I'd almost rather that they do that so that at least they'd have 8 home games and 7 road games and at least play 2 in Europe. I wish they would do that with almost everybody when they send them there so you don't just get screwed.
I agree with that. I mean, I think that's it. Everybody has to play these Europe games, and everybody is giving up some home games. The thing for the Saints is that the last 2 times now that they've gone over there, it's been a home game. The Vikings in 2022,
it would be a home game this year,
and that was in London. And this one will be a home game too. It's not impossible that they would get. I mean, we haven't heard anything of that ilk, but could you do Paris and then Munich or Berlin or something? I mean, or Madrid. I think they're going back to. It's possible, and that would be kind of a cool deal. And I actually think the Vikings went 1-1 in those games. But who did they play the second time? Whoever it was, they beat them pretty good.
I'll look it up.
And it was like one of those, you've been over there for a week. That's a pretty big travel advantage to have adjusted to the time change, the climate, just been over there sort of practicing.
They played Cleveland in the second week, and they only won by 4.
Never mind. I don't know. But
they lost to the Steelers by 3 and then beat the
I remember that Cleveland game. It was a Carson Wentz game, and he got hurt in the middle of it and playing injury and stuff. And anyway, I do think it's an advantage if you go over there for 2 weeks in a row. We haven't heard anything that suggests that's going to happen.
It's a Dylan Gabriel game too.
But the Saints, look, it's been 4 years. They're due at an international game. The only legitimate complaint, you would like to see them go over there and lose a road game one of these years instead of losing a home game. And they will. I mean, it'll even out over time. I think
it's not going to even out over time.
When we go to the
hard to even out.
How would it be hard to even out? It's been 2 games.
No, I'm talking about just overall. If you go look at how many games the Saints have played in Europe, which is more than 2, I think it's like 5 or 6. I think only one of them was a road game.
I only know for sure the one before 2022 was in 2017, and that was a road game.
Okay, was it the Jags?
So of the last 3 of the last 2, one's been home and one's been road, and this one will be home as well. So I don't know. Like I'm just kind of ambivalent about it. I think once the NFL goes to an 18 game,
but you're a Europe guy, man.
You're going to see every team play a European game every year.
It was a road game in 2017. They played the Dolphins and won 20-0.
You'll see a road game. You'll see a European game on every team's schedule.
Here's another thing I hate about European games. More times than not, obviously you're going to play those early in the season, and the team has the choice, but most of the time they take their bye week when they come back, which means the Saints would have a early bye week. And
not all the European games are early. I mean,
most of them are.
The Madrid game was November, so
The Vikings when they had their back-to-back, they had their bye week in week 5, which just week 5 bye week just sucks. I wish they would. I wish they would go to 2 bye weeks. I wish everybody would have 2 bye weeks, and I know that would extend the same. And probably when they go to 18 games, which is going to happen, they probably will have 2 bye weeks. I wish they would do that.
I think within 5 years, you'll see a 20-week season, 18 games, 2 bye weeks, only 2 preseason games, and everybody gets a Europe game every year. That's my prediction.
That would make the most sense to me. And then you could still have, because I actually kind of like 1 year you get 9 home games, 1 year you get 8.
And you alternate each year on the European game, whether it's a home game.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. And everybody got it. Just like everybody has to play on, well, almost everybody, not everybody, almost everybody has to play on Thursday. They kind of started doing that. They tried to spread them out to where almost everybody plays on Thursday. And I like that. It's only fair that everybody has to do that. Now, I think if you sent everyone to Europe, then there's no one has an advantage. They all got to go at some point. It all evens out. And I think that would work out. All right. Before we let you go this morning, I want to talk about, we touched on it when you first came on. I joke about it, but I want your thoughts on the little clipboard holder, otherwise known as Pete Carmichael. I very rarely use his real name on this show, but we are here. Pete Carmichael is going to be the offensive coordinator in name only for the Buffalo Bills. It'll be similar to what his job has been throughout his entire life. He's going to work for an offensive-minded coach who will be calling the plays, but I don't know. Maybe he's a quarterback whisperer, and we don't know. But your thoughts on Pete Carmichael going to the Bills?
It's interesting. I like you say, he's not going to call plays, so I don't know how much of a tangible effect it has. I wonder how much they worked together when Brady was in New Orleans. He was kind of lower.
Had to be a decent amount.
I mean, he was lower level on the staff at that point, so they were at least in meetings together, I would assume. And obviously, Carmichael made an impression on him. To me, the more interesting thing here is Sean Payton theoretically would have had a chance to just promote Pete Carmichael. So what I'm wondering is, did Sean Payton say, no, I can do better because Denver's looking for an offensive coordinator? Or did Pete Carmichael say, I got a chance to go work with Josh Allen. Screw you guys. I'm going to Buffalo.
I think it's the latter.
I would be curious to know how that went down. Because
I think it's the latter.
Carmichael's been with Sean Payton for
exactly. So
why of his career.
Why would Sean Payton come out and say, oh, no, he wouldn't come out and say, but why would he say internally, oh, we don't need Pete Carmichael? I think it'd be more likely that Carmichael said, I got a chance to go work with Josh. I mean, who wouldn't want to? I mean, I give Josh Allen grief, but a chance to go there and I think you got a better chance to go to the Super Bowl, even though Denver beat Buffalo and blah, blah, blah. I think looking at it, if one of those teams is going to go to the playoffs next year, I'm taking my entire Derry Bucks and putting it on the Bills. I think the Bills have a better chance to go than the Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true, and probably once in a career opportunity to. Well, I say that he worked with Drew Brees, but Josh Allen's a unicorn. You get a chance to work with him.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's interesting, but that's kind of what I take on it. Is I don't know how much it affects the Bills or the Broncos, but I'm curious to know how the decision went down. We'll never find out.
I was gonna say we'll never know because Sean Payton doesn't talk about anything. He doesn't want to.
And nobody's going to come out and say, "Oh yeah, we didn't want him, we let him go." No one's saying that. So.
Or you could say we used to say back on the desk, "He's a bum."
But also, no one's going to say, we really wanted him and he left us in the lurch. Like that's also not going to happen. So
nobody's going to say he left you in the lurch. Oh, Pete you think anybody woke up in Denver crying, "Oh my God, Pete Carmichael's gone. Please say it's not so."
Hold the clipboard. I'm just kidding.
I mean, look, even when I put the title slide up, I had to find him holding something. That was the best I could do. So I didn't actually have. There was another one where he was holding a play call sheet. That was the full play call sheet. And I almost used that one instead, but that's what we got here this morning. All right, early thoughts on the Super Bowl. We kind of talked a little bit about it, but actually we didn't because the last time you were on, we were talking about the championship games. But your thoughts on you've got Seattle future, I've got a New England future. You're thinking like I think. You just assume you're going to lose. I'm assuming I'm going to lose. Somebody's got to win. Maybe we should do some internal hedging.
Yeah, I don't. The Patriots are very reliant on big plays.
Sorry, Brian. I got to pick on them. Go ahead.
the Patriots are very reliant on big plays. The Seahawks defense does tend to give up some big plays. So
Okay.
it is possible that's going to be the path for New England. They're going to have to hit some home runs on offense. And then on the other side of the ball, it's all about Sam Darnold. Can he handle the occasion? He was great last week. That was at home. He has shown in some big moments that the lights get a little too bright for him. Those are my two big questions. Can the Patriots hit enough chunk plays on their side, and can Sam Darnold avoid giving the ball away on the other side? Because if the answers to those questions are both yes, the Seahawks probably win. If the Patriots get positive answers on both, then I think they have a real chance.
Yeah, I keep giving Sam Darnold grief, and I just can't do it anymore. I got to be fair. I try to be as fair as possible, and Sam Darnold has proven to me that he's absolutely worth it. Now, is he the sole reason or the number one reason why the Seahawks go in the Super Bowl? I don't think so. But I think he's certainly been really good too. And if you look, the 3 losses that the Seahawks have, now they haven't lost since November the 16th. But of their 3 losses, Zach, only 1 was on the road. The other 2 were at home. So they've been pretty good on the road too. Their last few games on the road, let's see, they beat the 49ers 13-3 in a game that was for the division, but Darnold didn't do a whole lot. They only scored 13 points. Beat the Panthers 27-10. Before that, December 7th at Atlanta. They haven't played a lot of tough games on the road as of late. Again, besides San Francisco, they played Carolina on the December 28th, Atlanta on December 7th, the Tennessee Titans on November 23rd. They lost to the Rams on the road on November 16th. They beat the Commanders without Jaden Daniels at Jacksonville. Okay, I guess that's a tough one. But at Arizona and at Pittsburgh. So, I mean, they really haven't played a lot of tough road games. But then again, neither is New England.
No, and of course, this isn't a true road game either. So it's just going to be different. It's going to be different. The spotlight's going to be on. We've seen Darnold melt in that scenario in his career. That's why the question is in my mind, how is he going to play? The Patriots defense has played better. Yeah. I was kind of low on them earlier in the year. They've played a lot better, but also like they were playing against Jarrett Stidham in the AFC Championship game. CJ Stroud was a mess in the playoffs. I still think he's got potential, but there was something off with that guy in both of his playoff games. Justin Herbert didn't have an offensive line. So they've kind of taken advantage of the last time they really played a high-powered offense was Buffalo in the game where the Bills came back and scored 35 points on them in the second half and beat them. So I am curious to see that matchup.
Well, we'll make our picks next week. Who knows? Maybe we'll find a way to put all 4 of us on the screen at the same time. That would be interesting. I think I can figure out how to do it. So we'll see. There was one of the things I wanted to ask you before you left. Oh, what odds do you have? What do you have on the Seahawks future?
14-1.
Okay, well I
did it like in mid-October. I got
the pay
40-1 or something.
Maybe we can figure out a way to hedge amongst ourselves. Just for I'm sure yours is for small money. I mean, mine's probably for more money than yours.
It's $4 or something. It was.
Oh well. Anyway. Because
I'm not putting a lot on 14-1 shots very often.
Well, then maybe we can't because you're only going to win. I mean, my math isn't great here, but 56. Yeah, okay. I stand to win like 350, I think.
Yeah, so you've got a little more at stake.
Anyway, we'll figure it out. All right, we will see you next week. Thank you for spending man, we had a lot to talk about this morning. This was one of our. I thought it was one of our better conversations. We had a lot to talk about.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Touch them all. We'll see you next week. Oh, before Zach goes, well, there it goes. Zach's going. By the way, before we get to Gabe, Zach, I asked him yesterday, and I gave him the option because, with football being over after next week, I gave him the option. If you don't want to come on Fridays, you don't have to. And he's got a lot going on. So I am so thankful for what is this sticking up back here? What is that? What is going on? It looks like alfalfa in the back. Gotta get off track. Zach has chosen. I gave him the option. If you want to come on back on every Friday, you're more than welcome to be our regular Friday guest throughout the entire year, or you can just do it during football season. I know you're busy. Again, obviously, he has no obligations to do this show. I'm an independent now and no longer work for the mothership. And Zach said he wants to stay. So glad to see that he is going to stay. So except barring a few times when he's busy, and we'll figure out those weeks ahead of time. But yeah, so Zach is going to be with us every Friday going forward. And I am very happy about that as well. So we'll see Zach even after football season is over. Programming note as we go forward here. A reminder, next week we will be on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But then the following, I'm going to take a little break. We'll be on Monday. We got 4 more shows until the end of season 5, and I take a very mini break. Not like usual. I won't take as long as I normally do for my break. But Monday, Wednesday, and Friday next week, and then we'll be on the day after the Super Bowl to talk mostly about the Super Bowl. And then I'm going to take about a week and a half off. I have not had more than a couple days here and there off. And so I've also got some administrative things that I have neglected just because I don't have time to do them. I'm going to do that during my time off as well. So anyway, that's coming up. We got 4 more shows left in the season, then a week and a half off, and then we'll be back with season number 6 on Friday, February the 20th. Can you season number 6 of Dattitude is coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, we told you earlier we would let you know more about how Evangeline Securities can help you figure out what your family-run or privately held business might be worth. Whether it's time to sell, how do they do it? That is better than any question we had Zach all day long. After their complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, native New Orleanian Nick Braden and the folks at Evangeline, well, they'll begin an extensive auction process from among established private equity funds from around the whole wide world. You got the whole world in your hand. Yeah, he's singing again. They will also maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities is the top producer on their platform. There are very few companies like them in this area. And second reference to 0.0, there are 0.0 companies with their dedication and success. They're fully licensed. They're ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick about what's really important. And it ain't whether the clipboard holder is going to be successful in Buffalo. No. It ain't about our stupid futures. You know what's really important? The rest of your life. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. Dun-dun-dun, 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 dun-dun-dun. Here he is, boys and girls.
Here I am, boys and girls.
Hiatus. Gabe Henderson. I have to hiatus. You could say it. You could make that hiatus. Hiatus. Okay, go ahead. Anyway, I digress. I don't know.
I don't know what you're on about either.
I told you I had 2 cups of coffee. I'm flying like a kite.
Bouncing off the walls.
What's up?
Nothing. I just had your numbers from earlier. I know we're running long, so I'll try and keep it short today. Got your numbers from earlier. And actually, we were kind of in the middle. You said 60-40, right?
60
offensive, defensive?
Or 60-70. But yeah.
Okay.
60-40. I said, yeah, offensive coordinator. I said offensive-minded coaches were 60% and defensive coordinators. Defensive coaches were 40%, and I was completely guessing. What's the number?
There are 20 offensive coaches, 9 defensive coaches, 1 special teams coach, and 2 teams without a coach right now.
It's closer to 70-30, but it's like 66.7 to 33.3. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Non-sports related news. I saw this earlier, and I didn't know whether you being brought it up. So, Kevin! Catherine O'Hara of Home Alone, Schitt's Creek, has died at the age of 71. Great actress. She's played some really good roles. So we don't do a lot of non-sports news here, but that is worthy of the Home Alones. I mean, Home Alone. Who doesn't love a good Home Alone movie? I mean, you don't like any of them?
No, it's not that I don't like it. It's just they're not my. I'm not a big movie guy, truth be told.
What's
I'm really
wrong
not. I'm more
you got a
TV
child.
and music.
What did your parents do to you?
I'm more of a TV and music guy than I am a movie guy. So,
all right. Yeah, you're kind of old school at heart.
Home Alone's okay. I mean, it's a cute Christmas movie. It's not. I'm just not a Christmas movie guy.
Oh, well, I definitely am. I am most.
Yeah.
I was absolutely a Christmas movie dude. So anyway, it is sad. Ask Callie and Jody for sure. She will be missed. All right. UBN wants to know if you're still doing your album listening. You didn't finish that yet, did you?
No, I'm nowhere near.
We want results when you're finished. By the way.
Yeah, I mean.
All right. What is your topic of conversation before we say bye this morning? What are you gonna hit me up with something? You got to hit me up with something. Whatever you want. We got lots of slides here. You want to?
I don't think.
I never even just to show the Pell slide to prove that I actually made one. The Pells they play tonight. They play the Memphis Grizzlies in the Mardi Gras game. So I'm assuming they're wearing their Mardi Gras uniforms tonight before they go off on their Carnival road trip, which they usually do this time of year. I hate when the NBA does this, by the way. You don't have to talk about this, but I can't stand when you play at home one night and then you've been off for 3 days. Okay. Why wouldn't they play Memphis on Thursday? Okay. This is just stupid. You play Memphis tonight at home and then you got to fly to Philly and play Philly tomorrow night. Why wouldn't they just play Memphis on Thursday night?
What was Memphis's schedule in that?
I don't effing know.
I don't know.
The NBA is so stupid.
NBA scheduling is terrible. Yeah.
It's absolutely stupid.
Yeah. It's terrible. The back-to-backs need to be eliminated.
They really do. I mean, especially the way they do the season now. I mean, they basically start on Labor Day. Oh, maybe it just seems like they start on Labor Day. I mean, let's try to compete with the NFL. You're not the NFL, dude. You're never going to be. Stop trying to compete with them. Anyway, your final thought this morning before we head on. I know you weren't on for very long this morning, but
no, it's okay. I didn't really have much to talk about.
We had a great conversation with them. By the way, if whoever missed the first part of the show, they need to go back and watch it on demand.
Yeah, really good stuff.
Very good show today. Very, very good show today.
I guess my talking point would be Harold Perkins. I'm 100% with Zach. I don't think he's a smart enough football player to succeed in the NFL.
That's just mean.
It's not meant as an insult. He's a freak athlete. I mean, athletically, he's one of the most gifted players in the draft field, but I just don't think he's got the mind for it, at least not to play linebacker. There were some games. I mean, if you look at LSU down the stretch this season,
he's not Demario Davis.
I thought he had a particularly good season,
sincerely,
but down the stretch, especially in the bowl game.
Yeah,
I think it was the bowl game. Maybe it was the last game of the season. I don't remember. Maybe it was the Oklahoma game.
Well, he did kind of disappear again.
It wasn't that he disappeared. He just made the wrong read.
He does
hitting the wrong holes.
He does disappear.
Yeah, he just didn't. He doesn't. He's not a linebacker fit to me. He's got to be an edge rusher.
Disagree.
At the NFL to succeed, in my opinion, but not a scout.
Well, last thing here before you go, UBN wants to know: did we miss him today?
Always.
You missed him.
I was going to say I have a feeling I'm going to be a little more.
Shit, how could we miss him? I mean, he's got about 90 comments in the stream here. I didn't show them all. But I mean, see, this is a perfect example of numbnuts hearing what they want to hear. And you are the numbnut of the day, UBN. I mean, you're not a dumbass, so I'm not going to make you dumbass of the week. But you're the numbnuts of the day. Yeah, go back and listen to Zach say anyone could have taken the Patriots. That's not what he said, dumbass.
How about the actual dumbass of the week? What I think. Well, Emmanuel Acho is pretty hard to top. Acho's
dumbass of the week was the guy we had Monday.
For his tweets.
The Monday.
Fogo, dumbass.
That dude is just like looking for
this
attention.
Week, next week.
And see, you're going to give him attention now. You're going to give him free space on our show.
Someone tweeted at him earlier and said, "I guess the rent was due."
Yeah, really.
Okay, speaking of giving people attention, Emmanuel Acho's take about Shedeur Sanders had over 1 million views. If you had to guess, out of those 1 million views, how many people do you think liked the tweet? Take a guess.
Out of 1 million?
Out of 1 million.
All right, I'm no math whiz, so I'm trying to think in my head. I'm going to say 9,800.
Your numbers were close. If you drop a zero,
You're kidding.
998 people liked it. Last time I checked,
That is 0.1%.
Yeah.
That is
not
insane.
even 1,000 likes. Not even 1,000 likes.
Out of 1 million views.
Yeah.
UBN says Acho had 22 tackles in his career. So he's certainly an expert to be talking about quarterbacks. You know?
I actually think his brother, Sam Acho, is a really good analyst.
He is.
He does a lot of college stuff.
And actually,
I think
I actually like Emmanuel most of the time, but that's just stupid.
No,
You
I
don't?
think he's here's the thing. I think somewhere
Brian says
in there,
the
there's a
worst take
smart
he's ever heard
analyst.
in all of history.
That's a bit much.
That's a lot.
I think somewhere in there, there's a smart analyst, but I think he realizes that being the Skip Bayless of this generation of analysts pays the bills.
I'm telling you,
and
some
he's okay
people
with it.
some people just say stupid shit on purpose, even though they know it's stupid, just so someone will pay attention. And next time they want to hear, what did that dumbass say this time? And really, to me, that would be the only reason on planet Earth to ever watch Skip Bayless or freaking Kyle Hurd. To me, that is the only two reasons. That is the only reason to ever watch either one of those ass clowns. Okay. You want to hear, what is this dumbass going to say? Now, some people might say that about me, but at least we have good takes on this show. Those two dudes, neither one of those dudes has had a good take in like the last 10 years, but people still watch them somewhere, somehow, because they're still in the air somewhere.
Did you see what, to put a nice bow on this conversation, did you see the topic of discussion the other morning on First Take?
I absolutely did not.
It was, should the Cleveland Browns call Deion Sanders?
Call him for what? They're going to have a clinic on defensive backs or something?
This
And
was
they want
before
to
they hired Todd Monken.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Give me a break. All right. We'll be back for a Mono Monday on February the 2nd. Start a new month. And our last full week before we take a little break. And our last full week of season 5. Can you believe that? Season 5 is almost gone. So, not the best color man in the business for nothing, boys and girls. See you Monday.
Sounds good.
Gabe Henderson, everybody. Yep. Also, speaking earlier, and I'm going to give her a shout out again. Jody Alexander is our newest member. If you missed it this morning, and if you become, not only do you get membership to the Slack channel, if you support our independent status and become a Dattitude member, we understand if you can. We'll still do all. If you not a member and you keep typing in your comments, we're going to keep showing whether you're a member or not. But you get access to our Slack channel if you. There are 2 levels. They made me do 2 levels. So what am I going to give you? I haven't done it yet because I'm waiting to do one batch at a time. But I know one thing. You're probably going to get a DAT pen if you get the highest member level. Maybe we'll throw in. I can't see the light is on it. Maybe we'll send you a stick. Who knows? I got to order some more of those. Anyway, I love these pens, by the way. My wife gave me a whole bunch of them for Christmas. Mangus gave me the sweatshirt with the logo. We're going to have wearable merch coming up soon. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. Oh, Gabe, you want to come back on real quick? Gabe's got something else to say.
Yeah, just for 2 seconds. You briefly mentioned my hiatus earlier, and that hiatus didn't allow me to say what I wanted to say. Bill Polian is a dumbass geriatric. There we go. Got that out.
He feels better about himself.
Yeah.
We did tell him the other day that Bill Polian is part of the reason why Bill Belichick didn't make
my favorite part about the whole thing was Bill Polian did an interview with Matt Verderam immediately after that news came out. And he's like, no, I definitely voted for Bill Belichick. And then he was interviewed again by ESPN.
He's not supposed to say that, by the way.
He was
You're not
the day
supposed to say
after
if you voted for him or not.
Yeah, the day after he was interviewed by, I believe, ESPN, and he was like, I don't remember who I voted for.
Yeah.
And it's just the backtracking.
You can get in a lot of trouble. You can, the NFL, I'm sorry, the committee, or whatever it is, they're saying that if you announce who you voted for before the votes come out, you can have your vote stripped And so Bill Polian realized he was about to get his vote stripped.
He should get his vote stripped.
Yeah, for multiple
but not for telling people who he voted for.
All right. See you Monday. All right, everybody. Yeah, who are the Raiders going to hire? UBN says they're calling Lou Brown. I don't know. I got a set of white walls on the other line. If you're going to pull this crap, you could at least say you're with the Cowboys. Gabe says Clint Kubiak is the rumor. Lou Brown would be better. NFL needs to put an age limit on those voters. No, they just need to not let dumbasses vote. I mean, why is Bill Polian even relevant today? I mean, it's not just the age. I mean, you can have old, smart people. Is that the right way to put it? I don't know. Whatever. All right, it's time for us to sign off. It has been a fun show today. I want to thank Zach for obviously being on longer than usual. It's funny what you can do when you don't have a pick'em segment. We can't lose this week, boys and girls. Just saying. Gabe, I mean, you better figure it out next week. Just saying. All right. That is going to do it for this Friday. I want everyone to stay. Gabe says he did well last week. We did. We all did okay. I'm joking. We actually had a good week last week. I went 2-1. I think we all went. Did we all go 2-1 last week? I think we all went 2-1 last week. We'll give you our results next week. Ryan says, have a great weekend. Absolutely. Because I will remind you, it is going to be cold. Why do people say cold as hell? I thought hell wasn't cold. I guess it could be. For UBN, if UBN went to hell, I bet you hell would be freezing. If UBN goes to hell, it's going to be like 10 degrees all the time. So I guess it is cold for somebody. But y'all, and all kidding aside, I didn't see JC today tell me what the weather was in Denver. I want everybody to have some fun, but be safe and have some fun. First weekend of Mardi Gras parades going on in New Orleans, in the New Orleans area. But I don't think we're going to go because I don't want to take the kids out to wind chills of single digits. So we'll have to see. If y'all are doing that, make sure you layer up. And I mean layer up, whatever it is. But next week, we're going to have a lot of fun. I told you about our program and notes. I don't know who our guest is going to be next Wednesday, but we're probably going to be focusing next week on Saints and Super Bowl. That is obviously Super Bowl. We're going to be talking about the Super Bowl, but we're going to be starting to get into who we think the Saints, as we start doing our previews on the draft and free agency and all those things. Probably have some more free agency talk like we did this week. It's coming up. If you want to support the channel like Jody did and many others today with our super chats, we appreciate it so much. You can become a Dattitude member. And again, reach out to me. Once you become a Jody, reach out to me. You see my email address on it, jim@jimderry.com, and we'll get you a link to get you in the Slack channel with the other members. And you can talk to us. We thank everybody who has supported this channel in one way or another. But you can become a Dattitude member by finding the join button on our YouTube page. Also, you can just go there. Just subscribe to the page. You don't have to become a member to subscribe. We would appreciate it very much. Give us a thumbs up and a like. And we're also, if you just want to listen to the show after the fact, we're on every major podcast platform that includes Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and many more. For Gabe Henderson, for Zach Ewing, and even for our dumbass of the day, our numbnuts of the week, UBN, who wasn't on the show today. We give them all love. We give everybody some love. Have a wonderful, glorious, fantastic weekend. We will see you on Mono E Monday on February the 2nd. Take it easy, my friends.